What you're seeing right now is something a little different than what has been driving the market as of late. We've talked about the fear and uncertainty and retail capitulation, but what we're actually seeing overnight is panic. And the reason why we're seeing it panic is because of what's happening in overseas markets. And we're going to talk about that in this video. We've seen a nice little bounce in the market, and we're going to discuss whether that is in fact a dead cat bounce, if we're going to see a little bit more downside, and the mega whale that we have been talking about many times before, the whale saga, has actually continued. And it's going to surprise you which direction they're wanting the market to go. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that bell again. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So right now it's about 5:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. So we're here before the U.S. market has woke up. ADA's floating around that 55 to 56 cent range. BTC is around 77.3 at the time of filming this video. I actually ended up waking up in the middle of the night. It was about 1:30 in the morning, Central Standard Time. I saw this dip in action, and it was brutal. ADA actually printed a negative 5.87% hourly candle, and then the next hour kind of still stuck around those ranges, and it was a question of whether it was going to just continue dropping from there. And luckily it held up. It had a nice bounce. BTC did as well after getting down to about this 74, what was it, about 74.4 range. Yeah, 74.4. So nice little bounce there. And now we're waiting to see if the market is in fact going to continue rallying from here, or if we're going to see some more downside. All right. Now, what I have to say, first of all, is that I'm very impressed with the way that ADA is holding up versus BTC. Yes, this sucks. This is two ugly days in the ADA BTC chart. However, we did in fact drop to the exact same ratio versus BTC that we saw back on February 9th, which is very very coincidental because BTC's death cross was on February 9th. So that's kind of interesting. Just want to point that out. But what I have to say is that, BTC is now setting the first lower low in this cycle after a death cross, like we talked about yesterday. Now, what is exactly creating this fear in the markets? It's overseas markets. You saw the Chinese stock market open, Taiwan, Japan, Russell futures, Australia, Singapore, among others. And many of these hit circuit breakers, meaning the markets did in fact have to halt because of the sheer panic and drop that was taking place. In fact, China saw the worst single day crash since 2008. So yeah, that'll cause a little bit of panic, a little bit of fear to enter the markets. Now, the US markets have not woken up yet. We don't know what it is going to look like as the day progresses. There are some rumors floating around that the Fed is considering an emergency rate cut. Again, these are just rumors right now, but if things end up looking bad, that may be the route that things end up going. All right. Now, understand that what we are also seeing in the crypto market is massive liquidations, $1.42 billion over the last 24 hours. Again, still not February 2nd, February 3rd levels, but not small by any means. All right. We've seen other days like this before. And yeah, it's brought us to some low prices. All right. Now, where things are really getting interesting is we've seen overall leverage in the crypto market drop to about $90 billion. So a big retracement there. But what is very interesting here is that the mega whale, the one we have talked about many times before that has been a big driver of price in the crypto market, they are back. And what they actually did was entered a $47 million ETH long position with 20x leverage. All right. Now, if you guys remember, this is the whale that we were talking about the whale hunt on before. And right now they're wanting the market to move up. They opened this long actually at 1461 in terms of ETH price. Right now it's actually at 1496. So they're actually a little bit in profit there. I think it's like $1 point something million in profit. And what's interesting about this is they really don't get liquidated. All right. Now, I don't want to jinx it and say that, the market's not going to drop because that potential is still there. But what they've tended to do is actually double down when their position does in fact drop and they fall into red and get close to their liquidation price. And they tend to, again, create some moves to the upside there. Now, what's also interesting is that another whale opened up a $5 million BTC long position on 20x leverage at 77,231, which is slightly above the price that we're at currently. So there are actually big entities stepping in, trying to help defend these prices currently. And there's the potential that we could see a bounce across the crypto market. All right. Now, again, US markets have not opened. We don't know what they're going to look like for the day. There's the possibility you could see a lot of red, just as we've seen in overseas markets. And yes, there are circuit breakers there as well. So you could see the markets halt. But if the markets do not move that direction, if they're pretty tempered, you may see crypto just kind of chill around these ranges. Now, obviously, nobody knows what's going to happen for sure, but you have to remember we got out a lot of our fear and panic drop in yesterday's candle. We got out a lot of it again overnight. The problem is, again, like I've talked about many times before, there's only so many people that are willing to sell. Me personally, I'm not one of them. This stuff doesn't really bother me at all. Does it suck? Yes. Would I have loved to sell at $1.32, knowing that we could have dropped down to these prices? Absolutely. At the same time, not willing to play games, not willing to gamble on chances. Okay. Right now, what we're seeing is, again, major panic. Panic can fade very quickly. Fear can remain, but panic tends to be very quick blips. And I want to remind people what happened back on February 2nd, February 3rd. We saw ADA actually crater way down to 50 cents in what was a surprise to the crypto market. This stuff right now isn't a surprise. Okay. That's why the drops aren't that bad. That's why the leverage isn't as high. That's why, although some people are freaking out and dumping their positions, it's not as bad as it was back then. All right. Now, that being said, we did do kind of what we were talking about. We did fall into the extreme fear range in the fear greed index in crypto. So again, these tend to last very short periods of time, and then we start nice recoveries. So that's all I'll say here. Again, it's really going to depend on what the markets do today. We may have more opportunity. There's the potential for downside. The lowest we got so far overnight was about 51.10, so not quite into that 50-cent range like I was talking about. Some people were trying to give me crap for that. And when I say 50-cent range, guys, it means within a 1 cent one way or the other of 50 cents. All right. So that's all I got for you guys. Appreciate you as always. Hope you enjoyed the video. Tons of opportunity in the market. Remember, nothing has changed long term. Crypto market is still going to thrive and do incredible things as time goes on. But yeah, there are hiccups along the way. There are drops. There are crashes. No, I don't think we're anywhere close to a bear market still. Drops in prices don't indicate that. And again, this is where you're going to see large entities picking up their positions while retail freaks out. So appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.